Executive produced and written by Manuel Ruiz Barrera. Bistec is a riveting story of a longtime Cuban revolutionary and what happens when one of the nation's prominent dissidents moves into his neighborhood, exposing secrets, upending lives, and testing loyalties. This historical fiction drama reveals a modern world of Cuba's mysterious vigilance and snitches system against the backdrop of a powerful, emotional story that is packed with surprises. Dear listener, please be advised that this episode contains intense material, including graphic depictions of severe violence. Some content may not be suitable for children. Listener discretion is advised. Episode 8: The Feast of the Rebels.
Interior of Micaela's house, Santa Clara, Cuba. Night, the year is 2014.
Having your son in jail is difficult for any mother. But when your son is victim of an injustice, it's much, much worse. When a Chowdy confessed that he was the informant who trapped my son, the news filled me with such anger and pain. This is cassette number 6.
Interior of a Chowdhury's house.
Micaela, I've had this guilt for a long time. I know the harm I've caused you and others.
Sit down right here, you villain. They called you a hero of the revolution. That always made you so proud, huh?
I know.
Shut up! Shut up, you degenerate! You're nothing but an informant of the revolution. You don't deserve forgiveness. You don't deserve any mercy at all. You've caused my son and I so much loss and pain. 12 years at Chowdy. 12 years!
I'm a wretched man. I did evil and I deserve death.
In that moment of rage, an overwhelming feeling, an overwhelming need to suddenly go completely quiet hit me. God touched my heart with, I don't know, tenderness. As I remembered my pastor's words, the Lord is going to use you in a mighty way. My rage turned into compassion as I saw a Chowdy, a poor, tortured soul, a broken man. A Chowdy. It's true. You don't deserve forgiveness. You really don't. But a Chowdy Suarez, king of snitches and surveillance, I want you to know something. From the bottom of my heart, I forgive you. I forgive you completely, Chowdy. I forgive you, just as Jesus Christ once forgave all of my sins.
What do you say, Micaela? Really?
Yes, Chowdy. Truly and wholeheartedly. God's justice is not like human justice. God loves you. And He just put these words and feelings in my heart to tell you all of what I am saying with absolute certainty.
This has been such an overwhelming burden. Years. Thank you, Micaela. Thank you.
The Lord is lifting that burden from you right now. Right away. Don't you see that one day, all Cubans, those outside and those here, will have to forgive their former informants and torturers? That reconciliation begins today, here, in the house of the revolutionary snitch. And the only thing that matters is that now, you and I, we're equals. And today we stand on the same side of God's justice. Besides, Achauti, this is just the beginning of the next chapter of the story that Jesus has in store for our lives.
Micaela, I feel God's profound forgiveness. And yours.
Stand up, Achauti. Stand up. Get up and be different from this point on. You're a man transformed by the grace of God. The Lord can use a man like you for great things.
Listen to me, Micaela.
Yes, Achauti.
No one can know this. No one else but you, me, and Orlando. Here. Give this folder to Orlando Contreras. Give it to him on my behalf, but be very careful not to let anyone see you with it. It's a file that the state security gave me. It contains photos and names of those who pretend to be friends of the dissident, but are actually government infiltrators. Orlando and others are in danger.
I understand. I'll do what you say. I'll give it to him on your behalf.
Fue por tu amor y tu perdón. Lo hiciste por mí y ahora puedo vivir.
Exterior dark alley, nighttime.
Later that night, I met with Orlando in a dark alley, in the middle of another blackout.
Micaela,
Orlando, this is from Achauti.
Micaela hands Orlando the folder, and he opens and carefully reviews the information.
Oh my. This is very bad. Damn. It's worse than I could have imagined.
Yes, I know. There are many informants. I'm sorry.
I'm used to disappointments. But I didn't expect Cecilia to betray me.
Less than a day after meeting with me, Orlando made his mind up and chose a very bitter path. He decided to save his son. He was going to save him no matter what.
Exterior of a dark alley, nighttime. Orlando is walking in a dark alley. He stops, and he sees Colonel Roca.
In the shadow of the night, the Colonel and Orlando met.
So, what sacrifice did you bring me?
What you asked for.
Orlando takes out an envelope and hands it to Colonel Roca.
Thanks to Achauti, Orlando only gave the Colonel the names and profiles of informants who were already known to him. Roca, who thought he had compelled Orlando to betray his principles, but in fact, that was not the case, because Orlando didn't give him even one single new name.
There are some interesting names and addresses you're snitching on, Orlando. I knew you had it in you.
They're all the profiles you wanted. So now what?
Now, we're going to release your son. And in a few hours, you'll be flying to Miami. You know, Coca-Cola, hamburgers, and Mickey Mouse.
Orlando sacrificed bitter pill have paid off, especially for his son.
Es difícil ser capaz de defender a tu enjambre. Es difícil ser capaz de defender a tu enjambre cuando se vive con hambre y miseria nada más. Es difícil que la paz reine en el suelo cubano. Y defendiendo a un tirano, ojalá no llegue el día en que tenga el policía que matar su propio hermano.
Interior in Santa Clara Jail, night.
Contreras! Wake up! Get up! We're letting you go!
What happened? How?
Get out! You've earned it.
Really?
Your father will explain everything to you.
Exterior Santa Clara Jail, nighttime. Orlandito gets into a car and upon entering realizes that his father is there. He grabs his father's hand and they say nothing.
There was nothing left to say. In just an hour, the two of them arrived at Miami International Airport, where they were eagerly awaited.
Interior of Miami International Airport, afternoon. There are numerous members of the press, the mayor of the city of Miami, and others all assembled for Orlando's arrival. Among them, a well-dressed woman in her 40s, Maggie Pacheco, a journalist, prepares to speak in front of a TV camera.
Are we ready? Yes, roll. Good afternoon. This is Maggie Pacheco speaking from Miami International Airport, where in a few moments, Cuban dissident Orlando Contreras and his son Orlandito will be joining us for a press conference. Contreras is the leader of a group, Democracy and Humanity. Yes. I've been just told that Mr. Contreras is actually already here and ready to speak to the press from the podium alongside other leaders of the Cuban exile and the mayor of Miami. Let's listen.
Thank you for the warm welcome and for the support you've given me and my son over the years. Thank you, brothers and sisters, thank you. I share your passionate belief in a free Cuba and would be happy to take just a few questions now.
Mr. Contreras, welcome. Are you both feeling well, and do you know where you'll be living?
Yes, of course. My uncle Armando has arranged everything for our transition, and we will be staying with him and his family. Regarding our health, my son and I are just fine.
From afar, a journalist's hand is raised. Orlando grants her the question, but when she stands up from her chair, Orlando realizes it's Marlene Presley.
Ay. What is she going to ask me?
Mr. Contreras, Marlene Presley from the New York Times.
Yes, hi, Miss Presley.
Hello again. Why did you decide to leave the island after 15 years of being one of the most recognized dissidents in the world, after promising that you would never leave Cuba?
Well, it wasn't an easy decision. I leave behind many friends and colleagues, some even behind bars. I think I did everything I could from Cuba. But above all, it was time to leave the movement in the hands of the next generation of dissidents. My son is growing up, he needs me, and I wanted to give him new opportunities that cannot be had in Cuba. It's not easy being the son of a dissident.
Will you continue fighting for the freedom of Cuba?
Yes, very much. We've changed location, but not our cause. We will continue seeking freedom and democracy for Cuba.
Si sabe de dónde salió.
Interior of Echari's house, nighttime.
With Orlando now in exile, all the pieces had fallen in place in Echari's life. He knew the revolution well enough to know that the beast, that is the nickname dissidents have for the repressive apparatus, was coming to bite him. Just a few hours after Orlando arrived in Miami, Echauri made such a mysterious and loud ruckus in his home that he knew it would finish prompting the police to bring him down. That same night, 3 patrols with 6 armed policemen descended on the neighborhood for Echauri. He had a wildly creative welcome for them too.
Interior of Cecilia's house, nighttime. The commotion woke Cecilia, who turned on the lamp only to find that a folder had been planted by the light for her to see. Inside of the dossier was her photo and a small note written by Orlando.
Cecilia, what a shame. You can't believe in anyone, not even a little bit. In your way of seeing life, it was more important to you to keep our house through trickery than with the sincere love that I offered you. When you grow old, you'll understand that you bet on the wrong horse. Thank you for giving me this lesson. I learned from you how humanity negotiates its priorities. We will meet again in eternity, where souls are purified.
Echauri's house, nighttime.
Gentlemen, let's go in carefully. We don't know what this guy has up his sleeve. Officers Rana and Perez, peek through the door cautiously if you can.
Echauri Suarez, it's the state security. You're wanted for treason against the homeland.
Be careful, he might be armed.
We're looking for Comrade Echauri Suarez. Open the door right now or we'll have to knock it down.
The comrade is dead.
What do you mean he's dead?
Just as you heard it. The comrade is dead. Here you will only find Echauri Suarez. But do come in, gentlemen. Come in.
Have your weapons ready.
I'm here, guys. Come to the dining room. Don't be shy or afraid.
When the officers entered the dining room, they couldn't believe what they saw. There, in front of them, was Echauri sitting at his dining table dressed in an immaculate white guayabera with 5 plates, each served with a hot steak banquet.
Come in, gentlemen, and sit down. Today, I invite you to try this hot and tasty Bistec.
Echauri smiled at the officers as he delicately cut a piece of steak and took a bite.
The officers pause, confused. They look at each other until Officer Cruz gives them a command.
Get him!
Interior of Micaela's house, Santa Clara, Cuba, night. The news anchor is on the television set.
The next day, the news had Echauri's photo splattered all over the TV screens.
After an investigation of several months, last night, a mysterious criminal case was resolved when police in Santa Clara arrested Echauri Suarez. Suarez, 65 years old, was captured in his home and was identified as the criminal mastermind, Samacun, who led a small group called the Bistec Brigade. It is believed that Suarez and the young delinquents he recruited for his group were responsible for the slaughter of more than 24 cows in the province. Echauri was sentenced to the maximum penalty and will spend the rest of his life in prison with no possibility of parole.
A few months later, the story about Echauri and the Bistec brigade fell into oblivion. Echauri was punitively punished, so he couldn't receive any visitors, especially since he was the last one in his family. The last I will ever hear of Echauri is this letter written to me by his own hand. This is the first time I will read it. I guess I wanted to share it with you. Echauri Suarez's final words read, "Dear Micaela, when you read these lines,
I will have already passed from this world to the kingdom of the Lord. Don't be sad for me, because behind these bars, I was freer than when I lived outside. In prison, I was very useful for God's work, since many know that I, like the Apostle Paul, was one of those who in other times persecuted and betrayed others. The gift of forgiveness you gave me is eternal, and that's why I complete my last years of life truly grateful to you for my salvation. It also gives me great comfort to know that thanks to our prayers and Orlando's own efforts, your son managed to join him in exile. May God's peace be with you. I bid you farewell with all my love, my dear sister Micaela. I will never forget you. Your brother forever, Echauri."
Micaela stops the recorder.
Es necesario, Martí, que salga del monumento. Es necesario, Martí, que salga del monumento y que se encienda en el viento tu paraguayo mambí. Por lo que estamos aquí, que seguimos tras tus pasos. Con la patria entre los brazos, vuelve a tu natal ventana y sálvanos esa Habana que se nos cayó a pedazos.
Bistec is a production of Nuestro Studios. The series was executive produced by Manuel Ruiz Barrera, who directed and wrote the story. Sound design, mixing, mastering, and editing by Jaime Almiral Jr. Associate producer and production editor, Efraín González. Associate producer, Félix Montelara. Assistant director, script supervisor, and story consultant, Ernesto Fundora. Additional script supervisors and story consultants, Amaury Pacheco del Monte and Iris Hernandez. Alberto Badey composed our score. Marketing design, Iram Enriquez. Partial casting by Ana Braga Morfi. Media and distribution through Nuestro Stories and Audio Dice Network. Our incredible cast includes Roberto Escobar as Echauri Suárez, René Granado as Orlando Contreras, Maite Vilán as Micaela Martínez, René Laván as Coronel Ramiro Roca, Laura Termini as Hortensia, Robert Ramos as Vizcaíno El Visco, Andy Barbosa as Vladimir Suárez, Michael Ferreiro as Orlandito Contreras, Vivian Ruiz as Tia Mijin, Maggie Zafra as Cecilia, Melissa Ann Ubicek as Marlene Presley. Additional cast includes Manuel Ruiz Barrera, Naomi Ruiz, Briani Ruiz, Alex Hernández, Efraín González, Ramé Ali Echeverry, Rick Nájera, Julián Nájera, Teresa Rodríguez, Jeffrey Batista, Tania Cecilia Díaz, Juan Camilo Jurado, Greg Yu. Narration by Greg Wiener. Musical performances and songs by John Darko, Leandro Tresero y Luthier, Elimir Coyoca, Federico Coyoca, Humberto Casanova, Juan A. Díaz, Lianet Uyola, Pavel de la Noval, Bernardo Izaguirre, Alfredo Chacón, Odali Salina, Lázaro Fundora. Additional executive producers include Armando Azarloza, Santiago El Hayek III, Lourdes Castillo, Ángela Sustaita Ruiz. Special thanks to the inspiration for the story, the one and only Micaela Ruiz. Additional thanks to the University of Miami School of Music, 80 Studio, Ramé Ali Echeverry, Celines Toribio, Rick Nájera, Robert Armband, and Catherine Costa. Bistec was recorded at South Point Production Studios and Panoramic Audio. To learn more about Bistec, follow bistec.film on Instagram or visit our website at www.bistecfilm.com. If you enjoyed the podcast, help us getting the word out by leaving a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. It really helps. Thanks. Copyright 2024 Brilla Media Ventures LLC. Any use of this intellectual property for text and data mining or computational analysis, including as training material for artificial intelligence systems, is strictly prohibited without express written consent from Brilla Media Ventures LLC.